three or four things. One thing was I was undergoing 2 divorces at the same time, which can be rather traumatic.
Said because all you guys look alike. So they all says, no, we're all just a little happy family.
In phases my music's gone through. I write my music according to my lifestyle. If I'm sad, I write sad music. If I'm being divorced, I write divorce out.
I'm an artist, basically. I like to think of myself that way, and I don't like to think of being a commercialist totally.
All my property had been confiscated, and there was a lot of money and a lot of property, millions of dollars, and that was rough.
I'm a great believer in God, and although you wouldn't think that my records don't suggest that, I guess, but...
I felt that while singing it, while practicing it, I felt that I felt it.
Publicity I get about sexuality and my sensuality and my records and all that kind of stuff is true to an extent, but not totally.
I don't know. Love is misery. Love is miserable.
Here's the clean story, start to finish. Marvin Gaye gives a Christmas gift to his father. Months later, that gift becomes the weapon in a quiet bedroom. And the last words tell you exactly why the ending happens. The dates are fixed. The address is fixed. The facts line up. We follow the fight over missing papers, the 2 shots, the quote on the floor, and the sentence in court. We keep our eyes on the family, the law, and the timeline. The music legacy matters, but the home history decides the final move. This is a simple chain, and every link is documented. If you like timelines that make sense, you'll get one. If you want motive and meaning, you'll hear them in a single sentence. What part of this story changes everything for you? If you lived through a similar family pattern, what choice would you make today to break it cleanly? The clock starts with 2 days that never stop echoing, March 31st, 1984, and April 1st, 1984. The house is in Los Angeles. The argument begins on Saturday night over missing insurance papers. Keeps going into Sunday, turns physical. The father leaves, returns to the bedroom with a .38 caliber pistol, and fires twice. The gun is a Christmas present from his son. The shots land. A body slides against a wall and goes still. The birthday the next day never arrives. The file is open and exact. No mystery, no chase, no who did it. Only a scene with a weapon, 2 rounds, and a family that can't go back. He was born on April 2, 1939, in Washington, D.C. His father enforced strict corporal punishment in the home. He preached in the Hebrew Pentecostal church and still hit his children. When he drank too much, the violence rose. He told his wife Alberta that he did not believe the boy was his son. Alberta said he never wanted the child and never liked him. Church music gave the boy a breather. Singing felt like a code to safety. He tried to please the man with perfect notes. The better he sang, the higher the demands became. Without Alberta's support, the boy said he might not have made it out at all. At 17 he quit school, left home and joined the Air Force. It ended fast. He faked a mental illness and secured a discharge. He came back and stepped into a studio. He learned timing as a session drummer. Then he took the mic and stayed there. The hits arrived in a row. I Heard It Through the Grapevine sealed his status. Duets with Tammy Terrell raised the roof. Ain't No Mountain High Enough moved like a promise stamped in vinyl. In the 1970s he reached a new level with What's Going On and Let's Get It On. The artistry proved control. The home story still held static and heat. By 1981 the strain showed. He was using cocaine. He declared bankruptcy. 2 marriages had failed. The IRS applied a heavy penalty for unpaid taxes. He attempted suicide. Then he moved to Belgium. He stopped using for a stretch, focused and wrote. He returned with a plan and the 1982 album, Midnight Love. Sexual Healing proved the comeback in one spin. The pull of cocaine returned and the relapse followed. The wheel kept turning. The same stress lines that began in childhood stayed in place under the spotlight. Those last 4 months he lived in the Los Angeles house he had bought for his parents. Sharing a roof brought every old edge back to life. The argument that ended everything began with missing insurance papers. It was not about a tour, a contract, or a show. It was about paper on a desk and control in a room. On Saturday night the words stacked up. On Sunday they split into a fight. The father later said the son punched and kicked him. After that he left, walked back in with a .38 and pulled the trigger twice. Alberta called Frankie, the younger brother who lived next door. Frankie came in, lifted a head onto his lap, and heard the last sentence that explains the story without spin. I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it. Now the legal path. Officers respond. There is no chase. There is no unknown suspect. The father is taken in. Charges are filed. In court he pleads no contest to 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. The sentence is 5 months of probation. Calendar keeps moving. Years pass. He died in 1998 at age 83. The law's record stays short and exact. Plea, sentence, death. The family timeline stays longer and harder. Here is how the career spine and the house spine cross. The boy who learned to breathe in church built the sound of a label. The father who commanded a pulpit broke the most basic rule inside a private room. Put the lines together. Start with a fearful child. Add the exit from school. Add the failed stint in the service. Add the climb inside Motown. Add the albums that made a map for soul music. Add the spiral into drugs and debt. Add the clean season overseas and the sharp return. Then add the last address and the last fight. You get a straight path, not a maze. Which step on that path hits you hardest? And why does that single moment say the most about control? The latest news on this story reads like a clean list. The argument on March 31st, the shooting on April 1st, the 2 shots from a .38 caliber pistol, the last quote in his brother's arms, the plea of no contest to involuntary manslaughter, and the 5 months of probation. The scandal update on this case carries the same points because the legal record is settled and closed. Marvin Gaye's latest news puts the dates and the bedroom right where they belong. Marvin Gaye's scandal update keeps the plea language exact and the sentence precise. Marvin Gaye's latest news also circles the fact that the weapon was the father's Christmas present from the son. Marvin Gaye's scandal update reminds you the next day would have been a 45th birthday that never came. Look at the family roles. Alberta is the bridge who holds the house together as long as she can. She comforts the child in earlier years. She grabs the phone the second the shots ring. She brings Frankie into the room. Frankie is the brother who hears the last words and holds the final moment. The father sets rules in sermons and breaks them in the bedroom. The son pays for the house that becomes the scene. Everyone's position is fixed. What part of that family map surprises you most? If you map your own family by facts, where are your pressure points and where do they lead? Marvin Gaye's latest news also walks through the work without drifting into tribute. Artistry matters because it shows control when home life lacks it. He learned discipline from drums. He learned patience from arranging harmonies. He learned a range from leading lines. He used those tools to step away from chaos in Belgium, write with focus, and return with a clear plan. Midnight Love is the blueprint. Sexual healing is the proof. Marvin Gaye's scandal update sits beside that blueprint as the fixed end of the legal road. It is the part you cannot change with opinion, memories, or arguments. Keep the courtroom language plain. A plea of no contest accepts a conviction without a trial fight. Involuntary manslaughter is the label on the charge. 5 months of probation is the punishment. The dates are the dates. The place is the place. The father later died in 1998. These are not flexible points. Marvin Gaye's scandal update names them and stops. Marvin Gaye's latest news repeats them so the picture stays clear. Marvin Gaye stands in the center line. The child sings to survive. The teenager runs. The young musician takes the drum stool and then the mic. The star builds a catalog that defines a sound. The adult fights addiction and debt. The son buys a house for his parents. The man faces the person who hurt him. The last words on the floor tell you what he carried. When you hear that sentence, what do you think it means about control, pain, and choice? If a family pattern corners you, how do you break it without becoming the thing you escaped? Here is the final weekend in a straight line. Saturday night, a fight over missing insurance papers starts. Sunday, the tension turns into a physical clash. The father leaves, comes back with a pistol and fires twice. Alberta calls Frankie. Frankie holds the brother whose life is ending. Quote is spoken. Officers arrive. The father is charged. The plea is entered. The sentence is set. The house is still the house the son bought. The birthday the next day never arrives. Marvin Gaye's scandal update also answers the basic questions cleanly. Who pulled the trigger? The father. What gun? A .38 caliber pistol given as a Christmas present by the son. Where? In the Los Angeles house bought for the parents. When? April 1, 1984. After a fight that began March 31st. What were the final words? I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it. What did the court do? Entered a conviction on a no-contest plea to involuntary manslaughter and set 5 months of probation. Marvin Gaye's latest news repeats those lines for clarity and nothing else. Say his name out loud once and you can see the line. Marvin Gaye learned control in music while losing control at home. He changed a letter in his last name to create space. He crossed an ocean to get clean. He came back and worked. He changed rooms in his own house on a single weekend and ran out of time. The story does not need a twist because the timeline is exact. What lesson do you take from it? If you carried a similar history, what choice would you make differently today to end the cycle? One more point belongs in the timeline because it shows intent, not rumor. Marvin Gaye added an E to his last name to set distance from his father. Marvin Gaye chose the studio because control lived there and chaos did not. Marvin Gaye kept working even when debt, addiction, and pain stacked up. Marvin Gaye bought the Los Angeles house for his parents because duty mattered to him. Marvin Gaye stood in that house when old rules collapsed, and each step lived inside the law's clock. The facts in this story are simple and heavy in the heart. The name, the house, the gift, the shots, the plea, and the sentence sit in order. Read it once and you will see cause and effect. Read it again and you will see intention and consequence. What part of this line speaks to you, and what would you tell a friend